Okay, so we just get started. I promise I'll try to be as brief as I can. My name is Luke Manson. I'm the Activities Director, as well as Dean of Students at the high school. And I just wanted to echo a couple of things before I start with what I'm going to talk about. A couple of things that both Mr. Steinmetz and Mrs. Herrick mentioned. One, I would say, in terms of my role as Dean of Students, if you could call in your student when they're absent, that solves so many problems. And then just so we're not chasing people for notes. We implemented that last year. I don't think people are used to it. That's really all you need to do is call in when your son or daughter is ill or not coming to school, and then you don't have to provide a note. And that just saves us a lot of time, and it's a lot easier for you as well. Two other things that Mrs. Herrick talked about. The fact that it goes so fast. As I was driving up today, I started thinking about this is kind of like the 1-year anniversary for me. Even though I started July 1st, this was kind of the first thing I actually did in my position. I can't believe how quickly that year went. So just to echo what she said, it's going to go really fast this first year. So try to enjoy as much of it as you can because it scoots by in a hurry. And then when she said the freshmen love it, my daughter's a sophomore now, and she went to Chi High all the way, or Chippewa Falls Middle School and everything all the way through. She loves it here. She absolutely loves it. I think that we have so many really great things going on, and we're working hard to try not to just be stagnant and do things the way they've always done, just because that's the way they've always been done. So we're really excited about the things that we're doing here. Okay, so that being said, this is something that anybody that's involved in any activity, whether it's athletics or any other school activity, needs to go through. It's known as the code meeting, right? So here we go. Code meeting, that's me. Hashtag Hawk Up, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Purpose of this meeting. We talk about, I'm going to step away a little bit. Can you hear me okay? In the back? You okay? I got a good gym voice, so I'll use it. Activities offered at BHS, where activities fit into kind of the big picture here. We have to do the paperwork and fees. Most of you, if you didn't pick up paperwork, it's all on the table over here. You just need one for each family. Most of those things. Some of those things you need one for each of your children if you have multiples. I know a little bit about that too. I've got a twin son. So, eligibility we'll talk about. Behavioral expectations of you as student athletes in our high school. And then some academic expectations. And then of course the sanctions that come with those. And then a little bit of potpourri at the end. Activities offered. So, we call these category 1. We have 4 different categories that fall under the code. These are just, they're all athletics. All the sports that we offer, including dance, we count as a sport as well. So the other activities, categories 2, 3, and 4. I won't read them all to you, but you can see them. And the reason we label them like that is they fall under they have different sanctions in the code in terms of penalties, and we'll discuss those a little bit later. Now, where does it fit? Where do athletics fit? I'm not going to read that to you. You can read that on your own. I'm a firm believer in that athletics and activities in general, whether it's anything with music or drama, or just being involved in a club where you're required to be part of a bigger entity, is so valuable as you step out of this building in 4 years. The lessons that you can learn in those activities are things that we can't sometimes teach you in the classroom. So if you're not involved in sports aren't your thing, that's cool. Find something that you like and get involved. We have a lot of really great opportunities in our building for you to get involved. So please take advantage of those. Paperwork. So, all of these things need to be turned. This is sports now we're talking, athletics. These things have to be turned in before you can compete, before you can even participate in practice. Okay? So the first thing would be the physical card, alternate year card. And I've linked these. I'm going to show them to you real quick. So this is at the WI website. If you forget or you lose this, this is that green sheet that you have. You just print it off and take it the day that you have your physical. In a pinch, you can do that. Same thing goes for the alternate year card. Now there are 3 of those cards that are up there on each page. know, I put April 1st on there is an important date for this reason. Let's say that you had a physical on March 31st this year. Okay, you went and had a physical, did the green card. You'd be fine for the rest of this past school year and then this year, but then you would need another physical for the following year. Okay, if you had a physical on April 1st or after, you're fine for this year and next year. So that you would just, next year then you would just need the alternate year card. So that's why that April 1st date is important. Okay, if you have questions about that, if you're unsure, just stop me afterwards and I can clarify if I didn't do a good job there. In case you're wondering, I should have mentioned, I'm recording this because I know many of you will want to relive this experience. You know, I'll upload this on YouTube for you so you can check it out later. Actually, what it is I get a lot of people that you look around, you're recognizing that not everybody's here. Rather than me later on having to schedule individual meetings, we create a little video and they can sit in the office and watch it. And so that's why that's there. If you're wondering, it's not that I'm going to take it home and break down the film or anything like that. $50 participation fee. Dance would be $25. Mr. Steinmetz mentioned the reason for that. The signed activities code, which is now orange. After tonight, you'll be able to sign this. Turn that in. There are 4 things. The next one is this eligibility. WIA requires that this is turned in every year. Eligibility stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Many of the things that are in this document from WIA are also in our activities code handbook. WIA sets minimum requirements for things, and then, as Mr. Steinmetz alluded to with the DPI relative to credits earned and required, districts have the leeway to set a different threshold in terms of what we expect. The emergency form, we need this updated every year, which you probably have, and then concussion forms as well. Okay? Okay. Again, eligibility. What I just said, they can set a minimum. WI sets a minimum, which is why if you're talking to somebody who goes to a different school, let's say we have a student who gets an F in something, our expectation or our sanction might be different than another school. Okay, there's a minimum that WI sets. Okay, I don't think this applies to anybody in here, but you can't be 19 before August 1st of your senior year. It won't apply to you this year anyway, I should say. In the future, you can't be 19 before August 1st of your senior year. I want to make sure that people are clear on this. Okay, so let's say that we have a student who decides to transfer. Not a full change of residence, not that they moved to, Abbotsford, but they just open enroll and go somewhere. Okay? As soon as that student steps foot in that school district, day 1 of the school year, that counts as their year. Even if they decide to come back to Bloomer, okay, they would be ineligible for varsity competition for the remainder of the year. Okay? If you're a sophomore student and the same thing were to occur, it would be a calendar year. Not just the remainder of your year, but a full calendar year. Again, like I said, if you move a complete change of residence, there's no penalty. Some behavioral expectations. This is good stuff for all of us, I think, for sportsmanship, just to talk about a few things. Points of emphasis. This is a really hard one for those of us that coach, but we got to accept decisions of officials is final. There aren't very many times when you get somebody to change their mind. And we talk to our athletes about that, the importance of that. We expect that our fans, parents, help to model that. As challenging as that can be sometimes, I think it's an important thing. I talked to my players about that most officials, those middle-aged guys, don't like to be shown up by 15 and 16-year-old kids. And they remember those things. So even if you're thinking of it just in those terms, even if you're just protecting yourself, you're not really concerned about being a good sport, it's something that I think is a valuable thing to think about. Show support for our coaches and our athletes. Recognize fine play by the opposition as well. not just our people. And then that we represent our community, right? When we go to a different school and we're cheering on our team, we're also representing Bloomer. And you know as well as I do that people see how we act. And they associate our fans with our community, fair or not fair. So let's make sure we're doing a good job of setting an example, something we can be proud of. This is something I'm just going to breeze through this. Amateur status. Okay, so you can't receive money, okay, or like apparel, like if you got a windsuit or some cool gear, you can't receive that for winning a competition. Like if you go play in a tournament, you can't receive anything of significant value as a prize. The second bullet, you can't be identified in an endorsement of, it can't be like in a commercial for something. So ladies, gentlemen, can't go, you gotta hang up back, can't sign those contracts for Under Armour or Nike yet. You gotta wait till you've completed your amateur status. Academic stuff. Must maintain passing grades. Now let's talk, this is two different things right now. We'll talk about the fall sport athletes. Get out of your way here. Fall sport athletes have a different set of rules. This would be for winter sport athletes and spring sport athletes, because now that we're on trimesters, it's really slick in terms of our trimesters following sports seasons. It makes things very easy for us when we go to look at the ineligibles. So if we're talking about your fall trimester, okay, say that somebody gets an F, they have 15 scheduled school days that they would be ineligible. Okay? You regain eligibility after those 15 days, and you have passing grades in all your classes. Fall sports. So if you're for all freshmen now, this doesn't apply to you. And if we have people that are here that are not freshmen, it would go back to last spring trimester. If you had a failing grade in spring trimester, it would be 21 calendar days, so not school days, 21 calendar days from the first competition, first event, or 1/3 of the season. Okay, whichever one is greater. Drop to parentheses. Okay, need to be in school. Mr. Steinmetz talked about just being in school is a great indicator of your academic success. Our expectation is you are in school on any time, right? We want you to be in school all the time. If you're on a game day, you need to be in school. There are those rare instances where we say, you know, if a kid is sick, real sick the day before, and they're up late at night, and they're kind of turned the corner in the morning and starting to feel better. Letter of the law says you need to be in school from 4th period on, which would be right after lunch. That's the bare minimum, but we want you to be in school all day. We provide transportation for you to away events. We expect that you ride home with your teammates on buses. Now certainly we have, there are exceptions. I know that just in basketball, for instance, we play in Spooner or Hayward on a Friday night. There are a lot of families that have cabins up north and want to stay. That's totally fine. We just need to make sure we're doing it ahead of time. But for the most part, we want athletes to be coming home with their teammates. We just feel like that too often, if Johnny doesn't play well or isn't happy about something, I can't use Johnny. I say Stevie doesn't play well or isn't happy about something, you know, rides home with mom and dad, things fester and they get worse. It's important to be part of that team in good and bad times. We want you to, and let's be honest, I mean, those of you that competed, some of those best stories you have, some of the best memories you have are not so much the games, but it's the bus rides to and from, right? Lots of great bonding goes on. I won't click this. This is on the school website. You can go here and you can download that form. We have them out here in the lobby as well. If you are going to plan ahead and you have a legitimate reason that you need to take your son or daughter with you after a contest, the form is there. Okay, so sanctions. We talked about those 4 categories. That's one of the reasons we have them in 4 categories. Category 1, remember, is all athletics. Just as a reminder here, categories 2, 3, and 4. Okay, kind of in broad terms. I'm going to read this to you. Behaviors